My name is Stefan van Niekerk, and I am a volunteer in the 99th convoy for Ukrainian action. When the opportunity presented itself, I couldn't really say no. I'm an injured British serviceman. I stepped in an IED, which resulted in me having lost both my legs, and then had the subsequent mental health issues that came with that, and so on. So I know a little bit about suffering, you can say, and the people of Ukraine are going through this on a daily basis. They've been going through this for a very long time so far, over 1,500 days, and there's still no end in sight. There are a lot of people affected in the way that I was, but the thing is it's on their doorstep. So for me, I just wanted to do something to help where I can. Having spoken to some of the previous volunteers, the size of the task ahead is maybe starting to come to realization. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm really looking forward to it. I slept okay, woke up a couple of times just reflecting on what is going to happen today. There's a slight element of nervousness, but predominantly excitement, because I'm really looking forward to seeing the wagons for the first time, meeting the rest of the crew, and just finally getting on the road. Also, for me, with my disability and the unknown, I don't really want to get in people's way, not carry my weight, or become a bit of a liability. And it's probably more just the fear of the unknown talking, and maybe me just being reminded of the fact that I'm not the able-bodied soldier I once was. But that's not going to stop us. We've got a team of people who are all super keen, and they've done this before. So good hands. There she is. Just had to put those stickers on this morning. A few more getting them branded up, but that's the one I'll be driving. It's the only auto. As you can see, this will become the office for the next few days. Like I said before, no aircon. So it's going to be interesting to say the least, but do you know what? I'm going to be far more comfortable than the people this is going to. Oh look, doesn't need to be up there, does it? So let's get rid of that now, and get that in the bin. But yeah, may she and all of these other trucks get there in one piece. We are about 5-6 miles from the port, and disaster struck. One of the trucks started smoking a fair bit and then lost power. They're broken down now. I mean, in some ways you could say just as well it's happened this side and not the other side after crossing. We made it. We're on French soil now. One thing that's pretty amazing actually is how many people kind of cheer the convoy on, how many people smile or wave or say well done or whatever. You can see that obviously this is something that's on people's hearts. And I wonder what people think when they see Ukrainian action wagon with this amputee bloke rocking up, walking around with like no legs. And there's one guy talking and he just stopped and he's looking at me thinking, what? Anyway, so who knows what's going through their minds at the time, but it's pretty funny. It's like 20 to 5 in the morning. So for me, I've been awake for just under 23 hours now. Back end sore, legs are sore, hanging out. I think what I underestimated today was just how difficult long journeys like this can be, especially with so many moving parts. But as I was driving, just a couple of things that came to mind. One is the need for discipline. When we get tired, it's easy as we are getting close to the services, for example, to then just start speeding ahead because you want to get there. Our job is to steward these vehicles all the way to Ukraine. These vehicles, we don't know what their history is. They're all kind of farm truck that seem to have had a pretty hard life. So you're kind of driving, just praying the whole time, hoping that it will just get to the next checkpoint at least. Something that I was reminded of that didn't really have anything to do with my legs is how you can deselect yourself mentally. When things start getting difficult, sometimes people can fall into this trap of exacerbating that negative thinking, where you then start thinking, okay, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not up to this, I'm not going to be able to complete this. And then this is why a lot of people quit, right? It's the quiet quit that creeps in, that then subconsciously takes over, or even consciously, and then people just decide, that's it, I'm done. And that's essentially where that leads. So it's about recognizing that and going and saying to yourself, yes, okay, things are not looking great right now, but I'm not going to give up. Is focusing in like the here, the now, 1 mile at a time, 1 step at a time, 1 moment at a time. Don't look at the top of the mountain, just look at the next step that you've got to take.
Like, we're almost driving through the middle of nowhere, and you've got people out on like rollerblades and bicycles and whatever else doing stuff. It's pretty awesome. Here everybody's in peacetime. You know, families have got the privilege to be able to do that. Yet on their very doorstep, the country's at war. It's just amazing, this sort of, in my mind at the moment, like the difference in realities.
And the other thing was, it's just driving along and I was looking at this amazing scenery around, and I don't think that I would be where I am if it wasn't for my faith. There's a slight shift in atmosphere. One of the earlier guys from Ukraine who we met just gave us a bit of a briefing on what to expect when we cross, when we're in Ukraine itself, from like a safety perspective. And it's obviously, at the moment, there is a threat the further you go into the country. So yeah, that kind of brought it home a little bit. It's just weird because obviously the time before when I went somewhere that was a conflict, it was in the Middle East, so it just looked entirely different visually. But this looks like a European city, yet it's at war. I don't know. It was just a little bit surreal in some ways, but I guess, you know, we'll find out tomorrow. Probably look a bit rough. Day 4, final push today. Woke up, well, had a good few hours sleep. Again, you know, quite a late finish yesterday, and yeah, so feeling a bit tired this morning. Stumps are a bit sore. I was just obviously wearing prosthetics for so long during the day, so putting them on this morning, you know, it feels like it's just like they're bruised basically. But I'm not going to complain because at the end of the day, I'm not here for a holiday. This is not a tourist thing. We're here for a purpose, and that purpose is to deliver vehicles, which we're almost pretty much done, and it's just worth remembering that.
And every now and then I see like a billboard advertising a concert or something like that, and literally on the same billboard it's like split half and half. On the other side is the recruitment drive for people to join the military in order to fight. The thing with being a British soldier and going abroad is that you just get dropped in and out of these situations. It's not part of daily life at home. You can see they're trying to kind of live a normal life despite the war and stuff going on. So it's just interesting seeing that mix coming together. Made it to Kyiv, and I'm not even able to even think about how I feel yet, because that's been the most stressful drive of my life ever, and it is still stressful. I mean, this place is crazy. You just have to keep your wits about you so much. People just flying up everywhere, obviously foreign places. I don't really know where we're headed, so I'm just following the lead vehicle, trying to keep my eyes on, so I dare not look around anywhere.
The other thing that came to my mind a few times today is that things can be so much worse. It doesn't change your circumstances, because your circumstances might still be tough. In knowing that actually it's not just me, you can't, you know, it stops that victimization. So what can I do to make it better? Let's do that. The point is me then getting angry, upset or whatever, because that's not going to help. Some people say resilience. I don't like using that word because it's a bit of a buzzword, but that's essentially what it is, isn't it? From the people I've met in my time here in Ukraine, they kind of embody that. I had a bit more time to reflect on the journey, and now that the vehicles are handed over, my role is done for now, but the mission isn't over. You know, I came on this mission questioning what kind of impact it would really have. I'm just like one person delivering one vehicle, and obviously the charity's done 500 vehicles so far. This country's massive, and the scale of this conflict is huge. But that's the thing, right? It's just keeping going, doing the little bits that you can each time, and it's amount to a big impact over time. So I leave here now knowing that, yes, it may feel small and insignificant, but it isn't, because it all adds up. And the gratitude that the people showed when these trucks were handed over explained it all. It'd be lovely to come back here one day again without all of this stuff going on, and just to be able to visit and enjoy it.
So after we dropped the vehicles off, I had a bit of time to spend in Kyiv, about 36 hours, and one of the guys that lived there took me around. We went to the metro station, and right next to this blown up metro station were these cars that were all burnt out as well, that got caught up in an explosion, and right in between them were these ladies that set up this fruit market, and they were using the cars as like shelves. But what really struck me was I wanted to buy some fruit, and I don't know what the guy told them, but they clearly could see my legs, and I went to pay and they just absolutely refused to take payment. In fact, one of the other ladies came over and gave us even more. And that was just such a striking moment. They are living in a war zone. They have very little themselves. The husbands are probably fighting in this war, and yet they'll have that generosity to give me from the little that they have. And the sad thing is that since then, the metro station was hit again, and it's now just a hole in the ground. So, I've got no way of knowing what's happened to those ladies. So what this trip has actually shown me is the importance to have God in my life. I just cannot imagine the alternative of having to face hardships and difficulties in my own strength with no real hope of a future or any positive outcome. Being able to hand it over to someone who's so much greater than all of this brings comfort and a strength and that hope for a future and justice. It just was a real reminder that I'm never alone.